welcome to Bookmas. And December, I am very excited to be doing 25 videos for the first 25 days in December and celebrating, and I'm making up for a lot of videos that I haven't done, and I'm very excited for this. So I'm going to do my December TBR because that feels like a good place to begin. So first of all, we have Thunderhead. This is a reread. I'm going to be reading this because I love this series, and I reread Scythe with my book club, and then I was like, I need to reread before I read The Toll, which I'm also hopefully reading this month. These are going to be my immediate reads, like I'm reading them currently, and I'm just really excited for this sequel. This follows a world in which death has been defeated in all ways but fire, and because of that, overpopulation is the threat, and that led to people who are scythes or who do the act of gleaning in order to reduce population, and it's seen as an act of mercy rather than an act of killing. And there's a lot of social politics and everything like that, and I just really enjoy the series as a whole. Then there are two series that I'm really excited to start by two of authors that I really love. And the first is The Guinevere Deception by Kiersten White. This is a retelling of the Arthurian legend from the point of view of Guinevere, and Kiersten White does a great job of doing that with the Conqueror's Saga, where she retold Lada's story, which is a gender-bent version of Vlad the Impaler, and then she also did it with Elizabeth Lavenza from The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, which is a retelling of and more feminist look at Frankenstein, and just a novel that I adore and is very underrated. It makes me really sad. And then I also have Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater, and I'm super excited for this one. This is a continuation of the Raven Cycles series, and it follows one of the main characters, Rowan, and I'm just very excited to be reading this. I reread the Raven Cycle in September and October and a little bit of November, I guess, and I just fell back in love with this world so much, and I cannot wait to continuing on books that I'm in the middle of and plan on hoping to finish before the end of December. That's a huge theme series and books that I need to finish. And I have Black Dog, Black Night. This is a collection of Vietnamese poetry that I'm really enjoying. The first poem made me literally sob. It has a lot of focus on the Vietnam War and the divide and the emotions that comes with it, and as a writer I think that is really important to draw inspiration from things around the world and to be aware of things and the emotions that happen around them. And I think that poetry is one of the best ways to do that because it breaks down the cultural barrel so well, because it's just emotions and heart and all of that. So I'm very excited. And we also have Spiritual Direction. This is a nonfiction Christian nonfiction written by a Catholic monk, Henry Nouwen, but he also did a lot of like psychology and stuff like that, and it's very interesting. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it for myself. Probably most of you wouldn't be interested in it, but I really enjoy it. And then we have The Bromeliad. I forgot that I put this on the list. So I picked this up from the library for like 15 cents. It has like 3 trilogy, is written by Terry Pratchett, which I've been meaning to read for a very long time. So this is absurdist things focused on like elves, like Christmas elves that are stuck in a department store and they can't like get out, and they just like are trying to have a rebellion. And I know that he's a really funny author, and it is set near Christmas time because, you know, Christmas elves and stuff. So if I have time, I'm definitely going to try to pick this up and really enjoy it. And then I have Throne of Fire, and this is the second book in the Kane Chronicles, which focuses on Carter and Sadie, which are biracial children who are imbued with the power of gods and magicians. And I really like Rick Riordan's books. These books have not been ones that I have super been drawn to. I didn't pick them up when I was a kid because I wasn't drawn into them, but Margaret and Kenzie made me pick them up for Demigods Anonymous, so I kind of stuck into it and I'm kind of thrilling through. I'm also needing to finish The Serpent's Shadow, which is the third for our live show, so I am doing my best to get through them and enjoy them the best. My next book is Challenger Deep by Neil Shusterman as well. I'm really excited to be reading this because I've read the Scythe series, that is one of my favorite, so I thought that I should read some new Neil Shusterman in order to kind of just, if he's an author that I enjoy overall. So this is a story that is inspired by his own son's schizophrenia, and it looks at a lot of metaphorical way of describing the experiences of what it looks like to be someone who struggles with schizophrenia, and I'm very excited to be diving into it. It's one of my next reads. And then I have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is looking at like a cult magic fantasy from Yale, so Ivy League, and I read the first like 10-15 pages and it is really good. I have it on an audiobook. I've heard that it's very, very dark, so I'm going to be like mentally preparing myself, but I have a good idea that I'm going to love it. And I haven't actually read a lot of Leigh Bardugo. I've literally only ever read her Wonder Woman book, so I'm coming in from a different viewpoint from most people who are fans of her work. And then I have the I am finishing the series of unfortunate events series, so I have the penultimate, peril, and the end to finish, and I'm very excited. This has been a journey of reading this series this year, and I'm very excited to be getting to the end, especially since the second last one I think is probably my favorite of when I watched the TV series, and this is just the unfortunate stories of the Baudelaire children, and I love the fact that he does a great job of giving intelligence and believing in children during these books. And then I have the Eternity Code. This is a book that is the third book in the Artemis Fowl series. I picked this up because my friend Kara from the Wild Book Garden, it's one of her favorite series. I have to admit that it is not a series that I have super gotten enmeshed in, but I own this one and the next one, so I'm definitely going to give it another chance to really blow me away. I think that character development matters a lot to me, and there isn't a ton in here. It's more on the world, which is really cool. I just want to be able to latch on to the characters as well. And then we have Dread Nation, another book that I started reading in January and I did not like at all. It's kind of been sitting there, and Margaret from The Word Nerd absolutely loves this book, and I know that it has A's rep in it, and I think that she might kill me if I DNF it, so I'm going to try to finish it before the end of the year. And then we have Fire by Kristen Kusher as well, another book that has been sitting, I think, literally since the summer of 2018, so it's been like about a year and a half. This is a second book in the Graceling series. I really liked Graceling. I thought it was really well developed and the story was very well crafted in the world and all of that. My issue around Fire is that it's this world where there's beasts and magic and like monsters, and she's part monster. I can't remember. I started reading this like a year and a half ago. I remember a lot of plot points, but the world is a little bit more, the specifics is a little bit less there. My major issue is that like she has this part of her powers is pretty much making her like irresistible to men. So like there's just so many times of people trying to like sexually assault her. And for me at the time, I just found that way too triggering. I was like, okay, everyone is constantly trying to do that to her. So yeah, I just took a step back, and I did really enjoy the world, and I think I'm in a better place to kind of deal with that now. So I'm hoping that works out. So then I have my classics that I am going to be reading for the end of the year. I have To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I know this is a stream of consciousness novel that deals with a middle-aged woman who is just thinking and reflections. I think that her plots don't matter as much, more about the actual inner thinking and thought process. Stream of consciousness is really give or take to me. It really depends if I like the character, so I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to like the character and be able to think about family and all of the things around that. And then I have Alice in Wonderland. I'm going to be reading this from Wolfie from the Starlight System, and they have been wanting me to read this since like last summer with them, and I have been terrible. So my apologies. We will do this before the end of the year. This is a solemn oath. I probably shouldn't say that on camera. It's gonna come back and haunt me. And then I have the finishing Anne of the Island. I'm rereading this. This is one of my favorite authors, Lucy Maud Montgomery is the author. It's the third book in the Anne of Green Gables series, and yeah, it is her in college, and I really, really enjoyed it the first time I read it, and I'm enjoying it again this time, so highly recommend the series. And then we have Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and this is a domestic thriller that looks at an unnamed main character as she goes through this world and kind of marries this man, and it becomes obsessed with his late wife. I don't know a ton about it, but it's a thriller, and I think that's kind of the point. It is many people's favorite book, and I'm very excited to read more into it. I've read about 70 pages, and I'm absolutely in love. So happy reading and writing. Let me know what you are going to be doing into the future and into December, what your plans are, what things you failed and you're sad about. But yeah, discuss below, because that's my favorite thing. Make sure to subscribe and comment if you want to, and I will see you very, very soon.